Well, hello, thank you for joining me today again on the Church History Trail. And where we find ourselves today is on the outskirts of Lisburn, which is on the RAVARNETTE road, which is close to the village of RAVARNETTE, which is literally just in the direction there where I'm pointing. And of course, RAVARNETTE is where I lived for the first 24 years of my life. But what we're doing now is we're actually looking at a field here, and it's now a private house, of course, but this field was actually part of the ground for the vanguard of the Williamite troops in 1690, and it's known as TROOPERFIELD. And as you can see from the sign here, this house is actually called TROOPERFIELD House. And so it's great that the owner of this house, Linda and Roy, has actually has used this name for their house, because it reminds us of the history actually of the field. And the original house would have been just behind that white house there. You can see it, the grey building with a great chimney is there. And so that was actually part of the original house, the original TROOPERFIELD house, which the owner here has told me that that original house actually goes back over 300 years. And so it is very probable that that house then could have been here whenever the troopers were actually camped in this field. And so that was the original TROOPERFIELD house, that grey building there. And today, he has kept the name going for his newer house, which is this one here. And the hedge there, if you can see the hedge, that's where the old road actually would have come on from what's known as the Waterloo Road. And I can actually remember you could have cut under the RAVARNETTE Road before these houses here were built. But where that hedge line is there, that actually would have brought you down onto the RAVARNETTE Road. And so this here then is known as TROOPERFIELD House. And while the Williamite infantry had actually camped near Blairsmoor, Blairsmoor, which is a little over 2 miles from the town of Hillsborough, the cavalry in the rear actually chose the banks of a stream which runs along the valley through RAVARNETTE till it joins the river Lagan about 1 mile from Lisburn, and that is actually what's known as the RAVARNETTE River. And the RAVARNETTE River is just down in that direction, which I will show you in another wee video. And so this would have been a mass of troops, the cavalry, and it actually would have stretched from here till about the Kieranban Road at the crossroads of RAVARNETTE village. And as I say, the place where they bivouacked was afterwards known as TROOPERFIELD. And according to tradition, the troopers actually remained here for a considerable time, the position actually being strategic as a cover for the advancing army, while preserving and keeping open the line of communication with Belfast. And so while William was at Blairsmoor, and he was, of course, King William was taking the review of the army there, and while he was at the moor, then the troopers camped here. And so the infantry was at Blairsmoor, which we're going to look at in another wee video. And while they were there then, and King William was reviewing the troops, the infantry, the troopers actually were camped in this area here. And so there's a fantastic wee bit of history to this area, and as I say, it's great to see the TROOPERFIELD house, the sign still being used. And I'll just take you up and I'll let you see a wee bit off. It's not the original house because it's gone and these newer houses were built, but on the spot where the grey house actually was built, that was where the old TROOPERFIELD house used to be. And so I'll show you that shortly. There's a wee lane there, and I can remember when we lived in RAVARNETTE, we would have went down that lane with my dad in the car, because right at the bottom of that lane there was a mechanic called Bobby Watersworth. And Bobby was a great mechanic, and he would have fixed my dad's car just at that wee lane there. and it's a brave length of a lane. But Bobby used to work at my dad's car, and so I'll take a wee walk up and I'll let you see the area where the old house was. It's great to have those wee lights. Those wee lights certainly give you a bit of a feel for history, don't they? And so you're going to see the wee house shortly. And so that's where this newer house then is built. This grey house here is actually the area where the old Troopersfield house was where the original house was. And so that's the newer house, as you can see. And I can actually remember the road running down there at the back and cutting on to the RAVARNETTE road from there, but of course you can't do that now. And so the original track that would have been used would have been behind those houses, because that's where the old track would have went, where this part here of the RAVARNETTE road is newer, although it's been here since from I was living in RAVARNETTE at least, and that was many years ago. But the lane itself then would have actually ran round the back of the houses and down to where it showed you where the hedge was, and where the hedge led on to the RAVARNETTE road. That would have actually been the old road. And also the driveway here as well, the first driveway here, I'll show you it now, for number 27 Troopersfield house. That there was part of the original lane as well. So it was this bit here, which leads up to the modern day Troopersfield house. And again, here's another wee sign there, as you can see, number 27 Troopersfield house. And so I'll give you another review of Troopersfield, which is now a private dwelling house here. And so it's great that this is maintained as a part of history. And again, watch out for the wee video on RAVARNETTE Village, the history of RAVARNETTE Village that I'm going to do, and also watch out for the one on Blair's Moor where the Williamite infantry were camped. And again, if you like the channel, then please like and subscribe. God bless.